That is no country for old men. The young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song. The salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas, fish, flesh, or fowl, commend all summer long. Whatever is begotten, born, and dies, caught in that sensual music all neglect, monuments of unaging intellect. Ambiance is a powerful thing within film, and a large portion of ambiance is based within the sound of a film. A restaurant won't feel crowded unless you hear the sound of socializing and dishes clinking, and slashers wouldn't be the same without ear-piercing strings jump-scaring the audience. However, sometimes you can tell a lot more with the silence in your ambiance.
I'll be part of this world.
The Coen brothers' 2007 neo-western No Country for Old Men is a prime example of silence telling a much more compelling story than a musical score could. Within the film, the audio is often occupied with just wind, tying into the consistent image of windmills used within the movie. So clearly, wind is a thematic vehicle for the movie, but to tell what? No Country is a film that time and time again breaks conventions, and that concept is something the Coen brothers have perfected. Their breakout hit, Fargo, has cemented them as storytelling outsiders hell-bent on nothing but the best. They are meticulous, and it shows. Their stylistic choices in No Country show their desire to break boundaries, such as their decision not to have a soundtrack for the film. Most instruments don't fit well into minimalistic soundscapes like Ethan Coen envisioned, so unconventional filmmaking required unconventional instrumentation. Buddhist singing bowls are often used within the 60 minutes of score for the whole film. The bowls ring a consistent tone, only oscillating slightly, isolating the audience through acoustics. The brothers are known for their modern Western themes, with films like The Big Lebowski showing how the brothers encompass Western themes in un-Western places. The brothers are able to convey a sense of isolation and even dread through the lack of a soundtrack, reserving sound for mostly wind, making visceral sounds like Anton's cattle gun more unnerving. The world of No Country is meant to convey a cold and ruthless landscape, one made for senseless violence. A world one must choose to live in. It is a world hostile to the old and run down.
You'd have to say, okay. I'll be part of this world.
No one better exists within this vile landscape than Anton Chigurh. Cold, efficient, and emotionless, Anton is the essential villain for a hellscape like No Country.
Got us, Scroogey?
In no scene does he shine more than the infamous coin toss scene. When I say infamous, I mean infamous. When I told my film teacher that I would be recreating the coin toss scene, he jokingly quivered. That's just what the Coen brothers wanted. The silence behind the dialogue is deafening, providing the audience with a more implicit ambiance. Only the dialogue exists to set the tone, and set the tone it does. Javier Bardem's delivery is cold and unnatural, his movements robotic, as if he is an experiment. Really, the entire character of Anton just seems like the experiment of some psychopathic eugenicist, bred to be an unfeeling killer. Anton asks the prospector if the store is his. Upon realizing that the prospector is married into owning the store, Anton suddenly shifts and the scene's already rising tensions begin to accelerate, allowing the audience to feel for this helpless prospector. We know that the prospector is facing down a ruthless killer, and while he knows that this is a strange man and that he shouldn't take Anton lightly, he does not know how truly in danger he is. As Anton places the empty bag of peanuts on the counter, a gentle sound, rising in pitch, can be heard as the bag crinkles.
The most you ever lost on a coin toss. Sir?
Just as the scene is about to rise in stakes, the sound is gently reminding the audience who is in charge and what direction he is taking the story. The scene continually rises as Anton harasses the prospector and introduces the coin. Tensions begin to peak as Anton flips the coin.
Call it. Call it, yes.
Fate will soon ordain this man's life or death. To Anton, this seems mundane. As we learn, it is. But the prospector is rightfully confused. He has no idea what it is he's playing for.
You stand to win everything, call it.
The prospector begins to realize the stakes. Suddenly, all tension is broken when the prospector guesses correctly. Then suddenly rise again when Anton quickly warns the prospector.
Don't put it in your pocket, it's your lucky water.
Within one scene, so much of Anton is put into one capsule. A convenient dosage of what makes Anton such a great antagonist. But the pill isn't easy to swallow. The scene is grueling and takes the audience through an emotional roller coaster before dropping them back into the action. The scene serves as a character study to ease the audience into what makes Anton tick. Chance, fate, and risk.
This is the best I can do. Call it. Call it.
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
This is the key theme of the movie. No Country for Old Men conveys a message of a place and time built upon risk, chance, and fate. Sheriff Bell knows very well that he could die doing what he does.
I always knew you had to be willing to die to even do this job.
This is the meaning of the wind, the silence of God. Bell gambles with his faith. He feels as if God's silence is evidence for his indifference or non-existence. Sheriff Bell visits his cousin Ellis. In the shot of Ellis's house is another windmill. The silence of God is deafening to Sheriff Bell.
I feel overmatched. I always figured when I got older, God would sort of come into my life somehow. He didn't.
But Ellis reminds Bell.
This country's hard on people. You can't stop what's coming. It ain't all waiting on you. That's vanity.
Through Sheriff Bell, we see a man struggling to comprehend the sheer brutality of the times he lives in. And while comparing it to the times before,
Some of the old-time sheriffs never even wore a gun.
it's this juxtaposition of a perceived good and a new evil. The devil Sheriff Bell knows versus the new and unknown. It's made evident, though, that through the fog of the unknown lies a sinister trail of blood. Sheriff Bell is the last vestige of a bygone era. Born of that era and raised within it, he struggles to make sense of the new, senseless violence.
There's this boy I sent to the electric chair. He killed a 14-year-old girl. Told me he'd been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember. Said if they turned him out, he'd do it again. Said he knew he was going to hell. Be there in about 15 minutes.
Leading into the final moments of the film, Sheriff Bell recounts a dream that he has and reflects upon his age. The ending is ambiguous. It leaves much to be desired, but so does the truth. Brutish realities leave us craving for more in life. The only difference is, Sheriff Bell has reached the end of his rope, and now all that remains is reflection. He no longer has even his faith to fall back on, as it has waned in his older years. No longer a sheriff, he has exited from quiet desperation to a quiet death, and once more, the story repeats. The young in one another's arms, the dying generations, the world built for the unknown. The silence within No Country is not the silence of a film, but the silence of God. It is the silence on what this experiment of life means, and if the violence in No Country really means anything at all.
I don't know what to make of that.
The Coen brothers told a story using silence, fate, and chance. Its ambiguous ending showcasing the true theme of the movie. The harbinger of fate will come, whether you want or not. You must simply choose to play a part, or die.